Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Happy that you're here. We got some exciting things to talk about today as Danny has just returned from his trip to St. Louis with the board, and we're going to talk about everything that St. Louis has to offer for those going to HomeDadCon. So I'm excited for this, so buckle up, and here we go. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. We're actually still on the road. We left St. Louis and went down to Alabama for a personal trip with my son.
That's right.
So
You
we're on
got
our
your own
way
little road trip going
back.
on.
Yeah, we went down and we drove 10 hours yesterday, and he drove probably 4 of that. And I want to say he learned a lot about driving on hilly backwoods country roads in Alabama, and realized he does not like that. He does not want to do it again. And I'm like, yeah, because the locals, which I was the local for a long time, you just get used to those roads and you're going, yeah, it's speed limit's 55. I'm going 70, man. I got places to go. But if you've never done it, I mean, he was down to 50 in a
Hmm.
55. Yeah, we need to go faster. At least, there's a truck lane coming up. You pull in the truck lane and you slow down. You let these 9 people behind us go, and they're going to honk and they're going to rush past you, but they know these roads and you don't. But he did really well.
That's good.
I wasn't expecting anything less. He does need, some skills. He is still learning, and that's evident. But he let me drive after that, and I got the easy part. And we got on the expressway and interstates, and he was going. He missed one turn, but it was we call them Spaghetti Junction, where you have
Oh,
like
yes.
3 major highways coming together or whatever.
Yes.
It was Spaghetti Junction in Atlanta was the big one, and we hit one, and he went, oh, and then the map is like, no, turn up, no, what do you stop? This is the wrong way, kind of thing. So we had to go up, but we only went like maybe 2 miles up the highway to the next exit, so we really didn't lose any time. But it was awesome because he learned from it. He looked at it and he goes, I recognize that was the turn because you'll have 3 right turn lanes and you need the middle one or something.
Yep.
So it was cool. I am very tired, um, very dehydrated, even though I've been drinking a lot of water. My throat is closed up because it's spring in Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I
And
love that pollen.
yeah, I walked out the first day and like all the pear trees are in bloom and the birds are going crazy. And I went, oh my God, this is, I'm going back in the house. It was just immediately my whole face swelled up. But I haven't been in it in a couple of seasons. So, but it was great.
That's
It was a
awesome,
really
man.
good time. Little tiny town in Alabama, and it was nice. His boyfriend's super cool. Um, I didn't like spend a lot of time with them. I kind of drove them around to places and dumped them off because it's not my vacation basically. But yeah, we're in Illinois today. We've got about another maybe 4 hours max to drive home. Um, and yeah, I'm ready to be home.
Yeah, that's a long trip,
Let's
man.
talk about St. Louis, man. St. Louis was
Yeah.
amazing, and this is going to be a fantastic place for a convention.
Yeah. I mean, I saw
Um,
you guys posting pictures throughout the weekend, and
mhm,
I was super jealous. Like some great pictures of you guys around the arch and like the
yeah,
surrounding area and stuff, man. And that the hotel, like it really just some of the pictures I saw, like really gives perspective to just how close the hotel is to the arch. I mean, it's
yeah,
literally like a stone's throw.
literally, yeah. I couldn't do it, but a baseball player could hum a ball all the way out to the arch. Yeah, it's close, and the location was a huge surprise for us because when we put out the RFPs, request for proposal from cities and hotels, we're looking for some very specific things. I mean, you have to have the rooms, you have to have the meals, and then you have to have the price.
Yeah.
Because there are places that we talk about all the time. Oh, we should go here. Yeah, that's be 3 times what we normally pay. We
Hmm.
can't afford that. We're not going to, and the only way we could afford it would be to raise our ticket price
Or
even
go to
higher.
some like
You know?
outskirts area that we would call
Mhm.
like that
Right,
space or whatever. And it
right,
would
and it's
be
it's
like
just not.
yeah,
It's a really precise formula, and the Drury Hotel at the Arch, I mean, it hits everything.
nice.
It's got great spaces. The one main room is more of a long or wide room than it is like a square. So you do have that, but
So it's kind
it's
of like
amazing.
Cincinnati, what Cincinnati was, because that was kind of a wide room.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But this one too has, like Cincinnati had all the glass windows. This is the same. So you have an entire wall that looks out onto the arch and onto the river,
Wow.
you know. And that's the east. That's where the sun will come up. So those morning shots are going to be amazing in there. And then the whole side has mostly good views of the city. I mean, some of it, oh, it's a building. That's all I can see. But you can see out into it. The rooftop up by the pool is amazing. You get some great views up there. Um, and it's a surprisingly um, expensive looking hotel because we went into the lobby, and the first thing you notice is that everything is marble.
Oh,
And this
wow.
is original marble that was in the buildings back when they were um, a fur depot. And the
Oh,
fur
cool.
traders would come in, and this is the things that they would dry the furs and everything in that building. And there was actually, I think, three buildings that all ended up being put together to make up the Drury. But you walk into the main doors, and there's a 30-foot long diorama, bronze statues of Lewis and Clark
Wow.
and all of the main characters, and then a bunch of animals that you would see in the area, and this mastiff, which I guess maybe Lewis and Clark had a giant dog with them when they went. I'm not sure, but he's there, and there's an actual flow of water, so there's a spring coming down, and they've got like the old telescope, and it was amazing. I'm like, what is this? What am I doing here? Where
You're
are we?
you're speaking to my history side, man.
You
I'm really excited about that.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You really are. There's a lot of history in St. Louis, and it was amazing to see the amount of passion, honestly, that our representative at the hotel had.
Nice.
She knew everything about this hotel, and we were going to put it right up in the newsletter for March. We delayed the newsletter so we can put the board information in there too, or the retreat information in there too. And I said this in that article, so if you guys read it, you'll have heard it twice. But she knew how the buildings were put together. She could
Oh,
showed us the line between where there used to be two buildings and now there's one. She knew. We said, we're looking for kind of a just kind of a break space where you can go if it's just getting too loud, you can go and just sit by yourself. I call it a mental health space. And she said, yeah, come down here. Went over, and there's this tiny little spot, and it's perfect. And then she said, and this one is kind of the smaller one, but we've got this one, and it's in an atrium, so you can see it's got the skylights, you have the sunlight coming in. She said, we could put some benches in here for you and just, put it nice, quiet place to sit. And I'm like, this is fantastic.
wow.
Even better, we go up on the roof that I mentioned earlier. We're looking at the views, and we're talking about the 5K, and we're looking at how to route it and where to do it. And in such a big city, you've got to be careful where you're going to send your runners.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you see down the street here, we're right above the main door. That red building, that's a 1 mile.
Oh.
I'm like, what? Because, yeah, if you run to that building, that's 1 mile of that building. And I said, how in the world do you know that? I mean, what is it? And she said, well, I'm a runner too. And it was just, I was like, you're the perfect representative for us. You're exactly what we needed
Yeah,
to make this convention amazing. And it was very impressive for knowledge of all the things about it. But like the little atriums had streetlights in them.
oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's like, why? What is this? And like, well, we do have a lot of sunlight, but when it's overcast or even winter, these will light up at night and what have you. It's just a nice glow. It's not a bright light, but it kind of just makes it more comfortable. And I love that about it.
That's awesome, man. It sounds really nice. Man, that's awesome. It's so exciting. The other thing too, that hotel is only like, I don't know, what, a block and a half, 2 blocks from Bush Stadium, I believe, or something like that. Like
Hmm.
Bush Stadium's like basically on the
Hmm.
backside of that building.
Yep.
And it's like that's for me, like being a baseball guy, like I'm really excited about that too because
Hmm.
they've got some neat. There's just some neat restaurants and places to hang out. I know you guys were checking out like a tattoo parlor, and
Hmm.
I know that a cigar lounge has been looked at. And man, I mean, like, what
Um,
how close are all of those things? And what kind of stuff did you find there?
everything that we're looking at is basically walking distance. Now it may be 4 blocks, but it's still walking distance.
It's
The
not Phoenix, so I'm
Midwestern,
okay with that.
right, right. It'll be a nice, and the weather's going to be fantastic in October. But the Midwestern, and it's called the Midwestern Meat and Drinks. It's basically a sports bar. You go in and it's got all of the, it's got sports going, all things going. You also have darts and different games that you can play and what have you. And then it's got a huge bar, and it's got a lot of really good bourbons. Let me tell you, we had a member or two who were looking at going, "Ooh,
Yeah,
I wasn't planning on buying a
I
bottle of
imagine.
bourbon,
I have
but
a feeling Paul Gordon bellied up to the
yes,
old bar.
yeah." He
It's
was
like,
like, if that one's really hard to get,
yeah.
and I could get two, this one, and it would only be because they'll sell you one for an
Uh-huh.
amount, and it was a big amount, let me tell you. But then you can get the second one if you add it to your order for like $25.
Oh,
So it was, yeah, let's see why we do this. He ended up getting a bottle. I didn't get to see what he got, but he was kicking himself around. He's like, man, if I leave here and I don't buy that, I'm not going to be able to get it. I'm like, call.
So wait, so it was a bar that you could buy a bottle from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
exactly.
That must be a St. Louis thing. I've never heard of that anywhere
Yeah,
else.
but
That's pretty cool though.
they're doing it. But yeah, it's a very tall area, very open, very wide, plenty of room for people. The chairs are solid steel and
Hmm.
have to weigh 40 pounds.
Oh wow.
I went to him like, I'm just gonna say, oh, okay. It's not moving. Okay. It's not gonna, and it's been girth tested already. It's gonna stay very stable for us big guys like me.
Yeah.
It has a really big outdoor area as well. And again, with the weather being nice, hopefully that's right there. And then you can see the stadium.
Yeah.
The stadium is maybe a block and a half away from that. So you can see the outside of the stadium. That's one of the places we're probably going to go. We haven't made our final decisions on it,
I was gonna
but the
say, I know
Midwestern
that
was very cool.
City Museum's not far from the
Hmm.
hotel. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
which is
Have
its
you been
own.
there?
I have not been there. I have only heard stories from people. I've seen lots of pictures. I saw you guys, climbing around there, and it's like basically a adult, just playground in a way. Like
Yeah.
there's just so
Yeah.
much to do there. I know that Quetzal used to tell me about like all kinds of stories because he went to college there, and so I
Hmm.
used to get fun little stories from him from time to time, and it's definitely been on my list of places to go visit. So I'm excited about the fact that I'm going to be coming in early, so it's on my list of places to go check
Yeah.
out.
I mean, excuse me. They have the rooftop Ferris wheel.
Oh
They
wow.
have a probably 60-foot slide that you go up to the very top of the building and you slide back down to the little play area where they have some statues of hippopotami for whatever reason. There's hippopotamus everywhere. Um, they have a run wall that there's also a rope. So you run up to it and then you walk over and slide back down on
Oh
this
wow.
partition. And well, all that's cool, but you go inside and there's a million things to see.
Isn't there a
It's
bus that's like suspended in air
There's a
too?
school bus. There's
Yeah,
a
that you
school
can like
bus just
climb
on
through
the
or
roof.
something
It's
like
like,
that.
yeah, let's got a picture of the school bus. It was amazing. There's an airplane
Yeah.
that's just there. I mean, it's a smaller one,
Well,
but a smaller
isn't there
one.
like a like an encapsulate like it's like a netted type of deal that you can like crawl through like a whole bunch of space too or something like that?
There's 30 of them. If
Oh,
you
wow.
took your kids there, you need to put them on a leash, like literally tie them to you, or you're going to lose them. Now they'll be
Oh,
in the building. They'll be in the building somewhere. But
uh-huh.
like we're about to go downstairs to look at the lower levels or what have you. And this kid walks up beside me, and like him and his dad kind of, hey, can we get by you? They step past, and they go behind this little ornate iron thing, just like a little like a shield or a sculpture. It was just this neat little ornate. I didn't think anything of it. And the kid walks behind it and disappears.
Oh
And
gosh.
it's only like 3 feet high. And I'm like, what? And the guy goes, oh, there's a slide here. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, it goes downstairs to the first floor, and we're on the third to the whale. And I went, there's a whale, and he disappears. Yeah, and I'm like, what?
I love how the
But
dad just like says that, not like, yeah, it's just a slide
yeah,
down to the whale.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, where is the whale? Yeah, they had a little bar in there, and that was kind of cool. I'm not sure on their, they weren't ready to like, they weren't catering it at that point. This was a busy day for them. So it wouldn't be the same if we went there for convention eve or dinner.
Right.
So not really sure on the food. I went to the little snack bar and got a little frozen pizza, basically. Well, they cooked a pizza, but they have a pizza oven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, yeah, if you want to wait for, I can make you one, like just make you a pizza, like an actual pizza. And I'm like, no, I'll take the little one. I'm fine. I just want to try the food. I'm not that hungry. And it was amazing.
That's
It
awesome.
was, I mean, for a frozen pizza, it was very good. I
It
mean, you
just
could
sounds like a,
tell,
yeah.
you know,
It
it's,
just sounds like a
it's
really cool
mind
place.
blowing. I've
Yeah.
got to take my kids there. I mean, within the next year before they get much older.
Yeah.
One's going off to college already, and the other one's bigger than me, so he may not fit anywhere any better than I do now. But the two little kids, they'd lose their mind.
Oh yeah.
There's just so much going on there. And again, I mean, you'll see. Wait, oh, I thought that was a sculpture. No, it's a metal climbing thing. Like you'd find in a play place at a Burger King or McDonald's or something. And except that it's 3 stories tall and it winds through half the building. It's like,
Yeah.
what in the world?
Well, and the thing
And a
too, like
lot of history,
I was gonna
a
say, the
lot
thing
of history
that's
in that
that's
building.
interesting is that it's called a museum, but
Hmm.
it's not like a quote unquote history museum. It seems like an
Not as
art
much.
museum, basically, like
Hmm.
a contemporary art museum.
Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh yeah.
Also, a lot of displays there. I will say that I took a picture of the Guinness World Records shoes, the largest shoes that were ever used by a human being, and sent them to our friend Arvis. And I'm
Size
like, look,
25, or what are we looking at?
20 something. I don't remember, but yeah, over 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
think,
was gonna say I
or
thought
he said I think he said that makes put my, size 20s to shame. But yeah, they were huge, huge. I'm like, what human being wore these monstrosities? I mean, you could put your arm in it.
I mean,
Um,
the tallest man in the world, I believe, was like almost 8 foot tall, I think.
oh yeah,
I believe so. That's what my son was telling me the other day. He likes to read through the kids Guinness
yeah.
Book of World Records stuff, so I'm sure it was in there somewhere. If there's
I'm
anybody
a,
that would know, it would be him because he's the man of random random facts. He does not fall far from the tree at all.
men's size 29 and a half,
Oh wow.
worn by Matthew, and I think it's McCreary, the world's, oh, I can't, the Lord, world's largest foot. Okay.
World's
It's
largest
blurry
foot.
because I didn't get that close to it, but yeah, almost a size 30.
Dang.
Again, it was just amazing. But all of the things there too, and like there's a huge ship's propeller, and it's just in the middle of the room, and people are walking around, and I'm like, oh, wonder what they used to prop that up. Huh?
Haha.
Uh-huh.
Love it.
And but one of the guys was like, oh wow, I didn't even see that because there's so much going on. There's so much to see
Yeah.
that you really have to just kind of, okay, I'm going to block out 90% of this so I can focus on the 10. But it'll be
So
an amazing place if we go there. There's a fair amount of room for convention eve. If we do that, we could also even do a dinner there. But that's, again, we have a lot to look at
sure. Yeah.
before we
Well,
decide.
that's always what happens. Typically, you come back from the retreat and there's a lot of things to
Hmm.
sift through and figure out
Hmm.
what you want to do with it. So, but that's good though, because like I was saying earlier, like I was saying last episode, it's great that the board gets to go check out the place that HomeDadCon's going to be at because
Right.
you get that first perspective of what's going on. Um,
We went
so
to an,
yeah,
okay. I was gonna say, we went to an amazing Mediterranean restaurant. It's too small to like host us or anything like that, but anybody in the area that likes Mediterranean, this exceeded my expectations. It's a little hole in the wall, nothing to it. Like, well, I mean, we'll eat here. It's fine. I mean, I like Mediterranean food. I'll, get something. And I got a shawarma salad. It would just blew my mind how good that was. The
nice.
meat was fresh and delicious, and like everybody loved their meals. But it was right next door to the tattoo place that that's why we kind of went over in
Oh
that area
yeah.
called, and I love this, Self-Inflicted Studios,
Love it. Yeah, that's a great name.
right? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, this will be a win for us. Yeah, this is where we need to go. But next door to Self-Inflicted Studios is a whiskey bar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, all right. Well, this looks like my night right there. I'm gonna
I
go
was gonna
have
say,
some
yeah, that's a that,
one,
that
two,
is a
three.
three for
Can I get
one
right? Can I get a
location right
cigar
there.
heater?
Yeah,
And
no
there's like
kidding.
a Pop's Chicken across the street on the corner. And this, I don't know where this man is from, but I could smell the fried chicken.
Ooh,
And you know when fried chicken is good from the smell, right? Like if the oil is too old or something, or they burned it a little, you could tell that's not gonna be great. Man, I'd already eaten and I came out I'm like, oh man, we should have got fried chicken. That smells good. So yeah, it's a lot of different places to eat right over. And those were all right within a block or two of City Museum.
yeah,
So it's all in a very, very concise area that I think we can get to all the things that the guys will be looking for. And it's going to be at least, I know the convention itself is going to be amazing, but all the extracurricular stuff and things we're going to do after and before the convention is going to be mind blowing.
yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I think even too, like just walking around the area
Hmm.
is there's like because there's like a park or something like right there. You got the one where the arch is at, but I think isn't there one like in between like the buildings there, kind of like it's a
Hmm. Yep.
courtyard or something. It's really neat looking. What was so walking around? I know like when I am downtown Cincinnati by the river, there's quite a breeze that comes through. Was it breezy down there or
It was, but it wasn't as much as Wisconsin's very breezy.
yeah. Okay.
And in the middle of farm country, there's not a lot of things to break the wind, so it's
Yeah.
break wind, well, to slow the wind down, and it wasn't bad to me. It was about what I expected and kind of what I wanted.
That's cool.
Keep you cool. Didn't really need a jacket, but could have been wearing a hoodie or something and been very comfortable too.
Yeah.
But also I was a t-shirt and felt fine, so it was great.
Are there were there barges and stuff going down the river or is it pretty like quiet on the river type of deal?
At that time of day, it was there was only one that I saw.
Okay.
But we didn't spend a lot of time at the river either. We didn't go down to the river. You know,
Yeah.
it would have been great, but we didn't go to the arch. We had to kind of focus on where we would go because we really needed to check just the venues, the places that we're hoping to, well, offer as for convention, even for the Friday dinner, Saturday dinner, Friday dinner.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool though. I saw where I think it was Chris Griffin made it to the arch. I saw pictures of him standing
Hmm.
there by it and kind of get an idea of the size of it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm excited about it because so one I've never seen it in person, but Percy Jackson, the series on Disney Plus,
Hmm.
like has a whole like section where like there's like a big fight scene inside of the arch, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah, I
and
remember
he
that.
and he like drops like he gets like kind of tossed out or whatever, but it's
Hmm.
I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was telling the kids, I was like, yeah, I was like, this is where I'm gonna be going for HomeDadCon, and they're all really jealous.
Nice. Yeah. I
So
did have Fabian with me. I put him up in a hotel, and he went to the aquarium,
nice.
which it's nice. It's a good aquarium. If you're spending time in there and enjoying it's well worth the money. It was about $30,
That's
but
about average.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like that's not. You go to the Atlanta Aquarium, it's going to be more, but you're going to have a lot more to look at, let's say. But it
Yeah,
was a very nice aquarium. I was impressed with the photos that he sent back, and there was a Ferris wheel. Wasn't able to get tickets because he couldn't wait long enough because it was a very long line.
yeah,
Um, so there's a lot of things to do, and the zoo is free and looks amazing from what we could see of the outside. There's a lot of things going on in that town. But one of the things that Fabian said, he's like, I really want to go up in the arch.
yeah.
And
That's
me
cool.
being agoraphobic, I said, I really don't want to go up in the arch. Thanks. Um,
You enjoy that.
so, but he mentioned, he said, that was where Percy Jackson's been there, Dad. Come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Percy Jackson's a near deity. Okay. And his dad can save him if he fell out of the arch. His
Right,
dad would surely be
exactly.
like, "Oh, let me catch you." or a flying beast of some kind. Me, no, I'm just a splat. That's not going to be worth it. It's not
What
worth the risk.
you were talking about things that are happening before the convention. What things are planned? Are there things that haven't been announced yet? Like what's going on with that?
There are definitely things that have not been announced,
Okay.
just because we're making sure that they're viable options. A lot of times people are like, "Oh, we'd love to go to this thing." That's great, but it's not going to be. I mean, you're going to have to do this, this, and this. We're looking at one of the things that is going to be confirmed, and we'll have the sign up sheet up for it. I think it's coming out this week. Will be for the caving kayak trip,
Ooh,
where you
okay.
get in a kayak and go through a flooded set of mines. I don't know what exactly what they were, but the 47-degree water. Don't fall out. You're not going to get out of the water. Um, but it's a really well done. It seems like a very professional crew running it. They've been doing it for over 20 years, if I remember correctly. They've been doing it for a very long time and have a lot of the skills you need in a guide, in a kayak.
Nice.
And they have larger kayaks. I'm going to have to call them personally and say, okay, you talk larger kayaks. Do you have a canoe? Because I'm a canoe guy. All right, kayaks don't like me. They're just I'm going to go in the water, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But the kayak trip has really gotten a lot of because it was just a suggestion, and it got a lot of feedback. So we're hoping that that's going to happen. Of course, we're going to do a brewery hop. Excuse me. We're going to do a brewery hop, and I don't know what breweries are included in that. I think there were four, but they went to a couple of them. I think it was Friday night after we'd gone to the Mediterranean place and checked out the tattoo parlor and stuff like that. They went on a couple of the breweries. Um, I had to get Fabian back to his hotel so that I could get back to hang out with those guys, and ended up just going back to our room and going to sleep basically.
Okay.
But I know those two things are confirmed. And what we do beyond that, what we add to that, if anyone has something like, oh, you're in St. Louis, you should do this with a big group of people, definitely join our Discord, put it in the suggestion. Just
Yeah.
say, hey, this seems like a great idea. Because we do have several things on there that have been suggested, and you have to work out the kinks of it.
Yeah.
If someone, said, hey, we should all go to the zoo together, cool. You're all going to fly in and take a bus to the near the zoo and then walk the rest of the way. What's the plan? You get a scooter over? It's just the logistics of getting a group of 8 or 10 or 15 or who knows how many people over to that zoo
Yeah.
is much more difficult than saying, hey, let's all go to the zoo together, right?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So what was I gonna say? My
Well,
brain
we
just
did find an amazing one of the rooms that they have at the hotel is almost a perfect setup for the beer share
that's what I was gonna ask
and
about. Yeah.
and gaming. It's a large ballroom. It's not huge, let's say medium-sized ballroom, but it has an air wall in the middle, one of the partitions. You just
Yeah.
pull it closed, and it has a door to go through the partition. So you don't have to go back out in the hallway to get to the next room if you don't want to. One side is perfect because it's got a very large counter and sink and all those things that you need for the beer share. And there's no rooms near it. There's no rooms above it. There's no room beside it. There are no guest rooms,
Oh,
I
cool.
should say. So it's kind of if you get a little loud, someone's still going to tell you to be quiet, but you have the ability to we're not going to offend someone if we cheer for something, right?
Okay.
Or if the bidding for certain items gets a little loud, which it has in the past, you get excited about getting your thing and you want to keep pushing that bid higher and higher. And then we're going to basically partition that, and the other side is going to be for gaming.
Okay.
And gaming, of course, being a little closer to my heart, we're working with Dane Samus, who's one of our members, and he runs the Bearded Dragon Inn. And he basically teaches people how to play role playing tabletop games. And going to try to move with him to try to get a little bit more organization with the people who run games and people who want to play games,
Yeah.
especially in the tabletop RPG area, and people that have never played to give them an opportunity to try something.
Do these
We're also going to,
Sorry, do these rooms have the ability to where like say somebody brought like a small projector to be able to plug in like say their Switch or something like that that you could play it on the wall or whatever? Ooh,
Hmm.
that's
Yes, they do.
my brain's like, ooh,
Hmm.
that would be
And
really
I'm
cool.
pretty sure that room has a screen, a pull
Oh,
down screen. Now, I'm
okay.
not positive on that ballroom. The upper ones had more than enough screens for what we want to do. We just have to get the projectors for it. But that lower room, I think, does.
I was just
And
thinking, I'm like, our buddy Joel Willis from
mhm,
Channel 3 gaming might be somebody
mhm,
to contact and see if maybe he wants to jump in and sponsor some gaming for HomeDadCon.
yeah, yeah, I've heard. And I would love to see some kind of gaming tournament, for lack of a better term.
That would be cool.
Just a little bit of competition. Now, I don't want to play those games.
Like a
The Switch
Mario Kart.
controller, the Switch controller is tiny, but even a regular controller, I just don't work well with a controller.
What about
You
the
know,
but if you but what if you have the one that's like you use
mouse
both
and keyboard,
hands?
mouse and keyboard, mouse and keyboard.
No, 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 not
Period.
mouse and keyboard. The
That's what I do.
You
That's
can
what I'm
take the
telling you.
switch handles and slide them in. That's still not big
I
enough for
have
you?
Xbox size controllers, like actual controllers that go with my Switch, and it's still,
Still
it
too
just
small. Okay.
doesn't work. Well, maybe just my hands don't work well with it. You
Yeah.
know, I will say it doesn't look like it, but these hands have been through a lot. They have a lot of mileage on them, and they've taken some shots here and there. And I'm not talking about alcohol. I mean, actually, getting nails shoved through them and getting smashed
Yep.
multiple times. And you work construction a lot, your hands just get beat up.
Mm.
And I don't have the dexterity. I don't have arthritis, but they just don't move fast like they used to. And that's
So
a big part of the hand-eye coordination.
so for your weekend with the well, not even a weekend really. It's like Friday night through Saturday and then you take off or whatever, but for just that time that you were together with the board, what would you say is like the big highlight for you that kind of was your big takeaway from that retreat?
Well, if you want what I enjoy the most,
Yeah.
um, hands down, face to face meeting with people and going over the direction the organization is going to take. That is sitting down, like we have a board meeting every month on Zoom, and that's fine. We all kind of know each other. We met at the convention at least. Most of these people, we know each other for several years. So we're not strangers. But sitting down in a room and saying, look, I think we should do this, and having other people agree or disagree or bring up points you didn't realize needed to be brought up coming into the conversation and educating each other. That to me is the best part about the board retreat, because we've talked a lot about all the fun stuff, and there is a lot of fun stuff, and we are doing it in the host city now, which we didn't do that before, but we're able to do that now. And it really helps build the convention for the board so that we can get, and the members of the planning committee that were there with us too, because we had
Yeah.
Jeffrey Reinhold and Jeremy Haston were both with us. So not the whole time, but through all of the, walking the places and the inner city stuff. But Saturday is a work day.
Oh yeah.
And Saturday, we have an agenda that is packed with stuff. And we worked for 8 hours on just things. And honestly, we could have spent another half day if we had it. There aren't any things that really weren't resolved, but more things that need to be refined. And like, this is exactly what we need to do now. But looking at the amount of work that we do on that day, it's really the reason it's the most valuable thing to me. The community is great, getting to know each other is fantastic, but we get so much work done that we really can't do on a monthly Zoom call. We
Yeah.
need to sit down across the table from each other and say, no, this is what I mean by this. So the value of all that work that we do, um, beyond what it adds to the convention, it really helps grow the organization. And we're looking at, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but if any of our listeners aren't aware, this is our 28th convention coming up in St. Louis. We're planning for our 30th because that's a big one, and we want to make sure it's a big convention. It's, we celebrate it all year long. The dads have been doing this for 30 years is mind blowing,
That's
you know.
wild.
And those kind of things are the things that we need to sit around the table together and converse and talk and get that excitement going. and look at someone and say, you know, I don't see why you believe that's such a good idea. I see it as this and this. Can you help me figure out why you see it that way so that I can see it that way? Or
Mm,
maybe we can come to some middle ground. The value of being able to do that face to face with someone in any conversation is priceless.
yeah,
And being able to do it as a board, hands down, probably the best meeting of the year, in my opinion.
definitely. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys got a lot of work done and, we're able to get a lot of things taken care of. That is
Yeah.
it's always interesting. And two, like it's just nice to be around the guys and have that
Hmm.
time to build. So, and
Hmm.
and two, you got guys who are gonna be stepping down. Like there's always three guys that
Hmm.
have either the ability to either step down or to say that they're gonna try to run again, that kind of thing. And so being able to see where they're coming from on that, or kind of starting that process of being able to hand things over is crucial.
Hmm.
And you guys have done a great job with getting that, kind of started and put in place. And the thing that I found really interesting too was just the fact that you were saying like, you guys are already thinking 2 years ahead. And I feel like that's something that just that's a new thing,
It
to be
is.
able to start really projecting that far out
Hmm.
as a way to just kind of get things going. I know that I would imagine, not being in the inner circle of things, like RFPs have already been sent out to a bunch of places for next year. And,
Oh, yeah.
that's been taken care of. And obviously you want to get that stuff put in place. So, it's kind of nice to be able to announce that for
Hmm.
at the end of the convention. And then also, too, to have things kind of set in place of what you're looking for the 30th. So that's
Hmm.
exciting. It's really exciting.
Yep. And I will say a lot of the work we do, just to remind everyone, we all on this board know we're standing on the shoulders of giants. This is not something that we did, really. We made a lot of improvements. We've done a lot of good things. But realistically, it's been that constant work for the last 28 years, 27 years, where dads, volunteer dads, just like you and I, went in and did the hard work to set up a system to where now we can go in and we can look 2, 3 years in advance.
Yeah.
We have hotels now that will do that with us that would never do that before. A lot of times hotels didn't want to plan out that far. Now we do. We also have enough of a, for lack of a better word, reputation as being an actual thing. We're here. We're a real convention. We're going to be here for another 30 years. So we do have hotels that will say, if you wanted to try another one, we have this chain of hotels that's over in this place. Maybe we could find one in this city that would meet your RFP and would be, where you need to be. But it's
Yeah.
because we've been doing it year after year. We've been refining it year after year. And it's all of the previous boards and all of the previous planning committees that brought us to this point.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we say that because we said it at the retreat and we recognize it. Our job's not easy by any stretch, very demanding. But it also is built on a really solid system that, 80% of it is already in place and ready for us. And we're
Yeah.
just filling in the gaps.
Yeah, no, that's really well said because I think that, it's good to acknowledge that and for people to understand that. So that's hopefully people get how big that is because yeah, like we didn't build the plane. We're just flying
No,
it and keeping it in the air.
right. Trying to keep
So
it in the air. Yep.
exactly. So that's
And I do want to do one thing, and I think we should actually do a commercial for this
yeah.
and put it in, plug it in at some point for early registration. We
Yeah.
we have some swag items that we can't talk about yet that are coming in for the people that registered early. And I think once the membership that didn't register early sees them, and these are, you can't get them again. They're not going to be,
Yeah.
we've got maybe I think 3 or 5 extras that we're going to be able to maybe raffle off or auction off at the beer share, something like that. But that you're not going to be able to get this unless you registered early. And I know that's not possible for everyone, but I want to put a bug in everybody's ear, so to speak, like, you should probably plan to go ahead. and do this because we're going to be here and it's going to be a fantastic convention wherever we go next year too.
Hmm.
Getting that swag is a game changer. And
Well, I
I
think
am
too.
very glad that I was able to do this. I'm going to be strutting, man. I'm going to be strutting with my swag. What? You ain't got one of these? Huh, that's weird, man. Why not? You know?
Well, I think too,
So,
like it's been sort of like a kind of an unknown if there's going to be like the ability to buy early. At what point in time is that going to be the case? So, um, the fact that it's going to be a known thing that
mhm,
right after the convention, there's going to be a time of early bird ticket sales. People now knowing that have the ability to kind of squirrel away that money as well so that that way they can also hopefully eventually do the same thing. So
mhm,
um I think that's a big key to it because like in the past, like you didn't know. Sometimes you waited, it might have been a month or something. Like I mean, I remember like they didn't even really announce sometimes like where the next one was going to be at because they hadn't really
mhm.
figured it out. So I think that,
And again, we're in a place now where we can,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. We've
where
got
we
it
could say
figured
if
out.
it'll be
So
this year. I mean, we could probably do it a month before the convention. We probably have everything set in place and ready to go for the next year and potentially the year after.
yeah,
You know, we're really zeroing on how to do this professional. And I say that specifically because none of us are professionals.
nope.
You guys got to remember that we're doing our very best, but we're just dads, just like everybody else. We have no very little training in like what's the vice president do? You know what the vice president on the board does? No, neither do I. No, I'm figuring it out. But it's very, very important for people to understand that we are moving in a professional way. This is what, if we were a corporation, if we were, P&G or something like that, this is how we're trying to run our organization
Yeah,
to keep it as efficient, as professional, and honestly, as cheap as we can.
definitely. Well, it, everything sounds super exciting. Counting down the days. I'm sure others
Yeah.
are too. We'll definitely, have everything in show notes for where people can find how to get registered and things like that. Um, I think that the fact too that we've got guys who are talking about this in other Facebook groups to dads is
Hmm.
really exciting. So hopefully some of
Hell
those
yeah.
guys are going to also come to the convention as well because I think that in years past, like there's been sort of like this weird anomaly as to can I be a part of this or can I not? Like, like that whole like who can come, who can't come. And
Hmm.
I've told dads who are like, if you're a dad who's active with involved with your kid, like come check this, come be a part of this. Like it's open.
Hmm.
Like it is an available resource to all that. So hopefully that brings in more guys. We definitely will have more to talk about as the weeks continue on towards HomeDadCon. But until then, we'll talk to you all again real soon. Y'all have a great week.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.